Hey everybody, my name is Ken. You are watching The Modern Samurai. We're doing something a little bit different. We're just kind of talking about gear a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I have deeper reviews. But I was talking to somebody today and I was reminded that I keep saying the new camera, the iPhone or whatever, and recording on my lapel mic, and I never really sort of show you any of that gear. So here's a super quick look at the stuff I use every day and will be using pretty much every day for the next couple of months to get video and audio in different situations. So the number one tool is my iPhone, which you can see is sort of watching you watch me right now. This is an iPhone 7s, an iPhone 7 Plus, which means it has the dual cameras on the front. And this is a pretty critical tool for me. So when I'm just out and just shooting something quick in Facebook, the iPhone is fantastic. And then we're going to talk about audio in a little bit, but the other camera I use is this. This is a Panasonic Lumix G7, and I wasn't expecting to have one of these this year just because I was really planning on just sort of shooting everything with the iPhone, but it was too good a deal on Black Friday to pass up. So this camera will shoot 4K, and it's super small. As you can see in my hands, it kind of looks like a little toy train, and it shoots 4K at a really good bit rate. So I'm really happy with that. It has all the stuff vloggers really need. So it has an articulated screen, which means I can flip it out and look at the screen. I can turn it all the way around and then see the screen when I'm looking at the camera myself, or I can fold it back and see the screen when I'm at arm's length from the back, which is pretty much all the views I need. I don't really use the viewfinder too much, though it's a good one. It has the ability to load custom color profiles. We'll talk about that another time. I'll probably link you out to a video guy that does a great video series on this. But basically, it means I can control how the camera records information. Like I said, 4K, I always shoot in 4K on this. It has decent image stabilization. The G85 has better. The G5, which is going to come out, is also better. But look, this camera was $395 on sale with the kit lens. That's a steal for this camera. Its slightly larger brother, the G85, which is basically the same camera but weather sealed, so I could take it out in the rain, is almost $900. So for the money, this is a great camera. It's got a nice little zoom lens. As you can see, it's kind of doing the articulating thing here. You'll have to pardon me if I got a hot spot here, but so, you know, you got the lens doing its thing. And this goes from 42 millimeters all the way as wide as 14 millimeters on the other end, which for what I'm doing is just fine. The other notable features here are it has a HDMI out port that puts out clean HDMI, which means you can have that port put out the video signal that's coming from the sensor with none of the user interface, none of the scopes and monitors, which means you can push it into a capture card, you can push it into a recorder or a broadcast stream and send it out to the world. And on the other side, it has the other thing you absolutely need for this, which is a audio input port right there, which is what lets me, if I want, shoot decent audio with this, though it's not my first choice for audio. Anyway, I usually run this with the sunshade on it, so it looks a little more imposing. So there. And then about, I don't know, 80% of the time when I'm not hand holding it, I'm using it with a cage. Now, right now I'm using mostly Kessler quick mounts, and I'll link to those, but let me just get this on here. So I just throw a little plate on there, and then I have two cages that I basically use all the time. So I have a little one, just basically a couple handles and a little bit of metal, and I can basically just snap the camera in, close the little locking lever, and then that camera is completely secure in there. And those two handles allow me to sort of hold it, and I can put lights here. You see all the mounting points. And those two handles let me hold this pretty securely, and it makes for fairly steady shooting. And then when I'm here in the studio, I have a much bigger sort of piece that I use. So if I take that out of there, I'll show you my studio cage. This beast is the thing I mount on my tripod right now. Now this is again, Kessler quick plates, and this is a PNC gear cage. This is a generic cage. I'm hoping when I get the opportunity to move to small rig brand cages. I have a bunch of little small rig parts, and I'm just incredibly impressed with the quality. Their price is good. It's more upscale than this, but they have something called a Versa cage, which can be used for this. They also have a cage that's custom built for the G7, but I like the design of the Versa cage a little differently. And so I'll be moving all this over to there. And these rails are here so I can attach things in front of the camera. But as you can see, I can just, I do this so you can see it. I can just basically drop this camera right into that quick mount, and I'll edit out some of those metallic noises for you, and clamp it down, and then I'm good to go. Now, because this is not really a super flexible cage, what I did was I took off one of the arms. You see how that arm is, there's only one on that side and there's two on the other side? So I did that so that I can pop this off, open up my screen, and then put it back on from the front. And now when I lock this down, I turned off one of those lights. You might get a little less hotspot now. So now you can see that I can see the screen from the front. Anyway, this cage is huge and heavy and not as flexible as I want it to be. It's been really good for me for a couple years, but I'm looking forward to moving to the small rig cage as soon as I get the opportunity. Like I said, I got some small rig parts on here. So let me go ahead and take this camera out of the cage and put the cage away. Now, moving on from there, when I want to see what the camera is showing me and I'm not using my iPhone, I basically use one of these. This is just a small HD monitor. So this is a 7-inch HDMI output monitor that takes all sorts of inputs, runs off of camera batteries, rechargeable camera batteries, and I have it on a little tiny Manfrotto stand, but I can plug this cable into that camera, and then I can see here whatever the camera was seeing if I was far away or wanted to be able to show it to somebody else, or the articulating screen was not an option. All right, so we're almost done with the critical stuff I use all the time. And the last thing we want to talk about is audio really quick. So almost all the audio that you hear from me most times when I'm not raw on the iPhone in my car is coming out of these. This is a Zoom H2N. It's a little digital audio recorder. In fact, it is recording me right now. This is the one I'm using. Runs off of AA batteries, takes a standard SD card, has an input, so I can use my Rode lapel mic, which is why I can handle this and you're not hearing that in your ear. Has output, can be used as a sound card. You plug it in USB to your computer or a laptop, and it can be a high quality mic. This will do surround sound with the microphone capsules that are built in, where you can put a mic in this case, my lapel mic. So just to give you an example, I will switch to the audio for the native audio from here. So let me switch now. Hi, this is me speaking on the Zoom H2N, just to show you an example of what that would sound like. You're probably getting a little bit of noise because I have the volume adjusted for the lapel mic, but in any case, that's the raw audio there. 1, 2, 3. And now we're back to the lapel mic, so I'll do the same thing. This is the Rode SmartLav lapel mic on the Zoom H2N, 1001, 1002, 1003. So now the other thing you'll notice about these are they're very, very small. It's about the size of a pack of playing cards or a little smaller, which means I can use it as a body pack mic. I can run a lapel mic into here and then put this in the pocket of my talent or someone I'm interviewing, and then sync up all the audio later on from as many of these as I want. So while it's not a wireless system, these are, you know, just around $100, and good wireless audio solutions can be $300–400. So having a case full of these, I have 3 of them, is much more cost effective, and I can use them for everything: audio, backup audio, and so on. And then the last piece of audio gear we're going to talk about is this thing. So this is the Rode brand Video. I think it's the Video Micro or Video Go. But this is a right around $60 little lapel mic. It's on a little shotgun mic. It's on a sort of flexible mount, so it doesn't get as much handling noise, and it's got this little pigtail cable which switches out. This particular one is set up to go into regular audio sources, but you can also plug this into an adapter for the iPhone. So I can use this to record on my iPhone, and in fact I can show you that mount in a second, but I can use this to record on my iPhone by plugging this in, and I get pretty good audio. It comes with a windscreen. I can also plug this into a Zoom, and I can plug it into the audio input mount on that camera. So this is a super versatile piece of gear, and because I have it on it comes with a sort of hot shoe mount, which means it goes on to anywhere you have a like a flash mount. So if I open that up a little bit, it fits right on. This is the mount I use for my iPhone 99.9% of the time. And this mount, so this is a really interesting little mount. So the iPhone fits in here, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So the iPhone's going to go in. I'm trying to do this without turning off the recording. So the iPhone is going to fit in there, and it dials in, and you'll notice that this has some little fingertip grips here. So I can now hold my iPhone pretty well like that. And if I want to do an even better job, this is a little small weighted grip. On the bottom here is a regular 1/4-20. So this can go into a tripod, but I can also just throw this little weight on here. And now this is a perfectly reasonable grip with a little bit of weight, gives me just a little bit of extra steadiness, which thanks to the built-in stabilization of the iPhone works out pretty well. And then right up here, there's a hot shoe mount. So if I really want to run super light, I can go ahead and screw that mic onto the top of that iPhone, tighten that down. Let's take this off so you can see. And then there we have, that would be like the minimal setup to get really pretty decent audio on an iPhone with fairly stable video, if I'm not just doing the iPhone on its own. So there you go. So this is like the smallest possible cage, and then it goes all the way up to bigger cameras, and then bigger cages, and so on and so forth. I have put this mount on one of those bigger cages when I needed to. So anyway, I thought you would get kind of a kick out of seeing how that all went together. Let me go ahead and take this off. So basically, we can go everywhere from just having the iPhone, which I have in my pocket, and we can move that all the way up through the iPhone in a little tiny cage, and then we go handheld on the GH4 with that audio mic right on the little cold shoe right here, and then I can put the small cage on it, and then we can go ahead and put the big cage on it. Now I have a bunch of video out of here comparing it with the iPhone that I shot a couple of weeks ago, but we're gonna have to wait for the new computer to come before it's worth editing all that 4K video together. I will also be doing when I finally get small rig gear in, I'll be comparing those two cages together and showing that on my tripod, my Manfrotto tripod. Anyway, a couple people ask me what gear I use all the time, and basically this small kit, even if I take it all with me, it all just fits in a backpack along with my portable USB battery pack. This is lime fuel, kind of water resistant. And with that, I can really kind of go anywhere from a zero effort production and just whip out my iPhone all the way up through shooting 4K, separate video. And since I always have my iPhone with me, I can cover it on 2 camera angles with decent lapel mic, separate audio if I want. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a lot of talk about gear, but hey, what the heck. So here's the fancy Modern Samurai sign out sign, and a little bit different vlog, but I hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you guys later.